One of the things that's made dyslexia difficult to study is that even though it's primarily a reading difficulty, and that's how people recognize it as difficulty with reading single words because of the struggles with decoding those words, the manifestations of dyslexia have been described to be quite varied. People have talked about not just difficulties in reading, but differences in motor performance and visual tasks and so on. And so people have often wondered, why are there these different behavioral manifestations? And some of these could be part of dyslexia, even though they're not causing the reading difficulties. And some of them may be the consequence of not learning to read. And that's also where brain imaging is helpful as a tool to begin to help arbitrate between different theoretical frameworks. And we have found, for example, that the visual system in some areas that aren't directly involved in reading are also altered, but that's not the part that's contributing to the reading problem, but it seems to change as a function of whether we're skilled readers or not. And it may have something to do with the fact that as humans, we learn to read. It's a uniquely human skill. It requires some combination of things that we do, including a lot of eye movement and very carefully controlled saccadic eye movement across the letters as we scan them. And that's not necessarily how our brain was expecting us to go about leading our daily life. And so it's not unexpected that when we look at typical readers, we see what we see as a typical person is really a person whose brain has changed in response to having undergone years of learning how to read, and that's how the brain has become organized. And so for people who don't read as much because of their dyslexia, we may not see some of those systems the way we see in typical readers, and we have to be careful how to interpret them. Is it the dyslexia that's causing that, or is it a consequence of not reading as much?